In 1986, the non-profit United Way would attempt a fundraising event in Cleveland, Ohio, where they would try to break the world record for the most balloons released simultaneously. The idea was the event would be a great publicity stunt and a way to raise funds through volunteer sponsorships. After 6 months of preparation, a city block of public square was to be the birthplace of Balloonfest 86. Oh, that's not the right sound effect. Wait a minute, someone replaced all my fun and whimsical sounds with dark and foreboding ones. Which is obviously a mistake. I'm sure Balloonfest turned out to be a great time for everyone. United Way partnered with a Los Angeles-based balloon company to erect a massive open-air structure in Public Square. The structure held 2,500 volunteers, mostly children, who sold sponsorships for the fundraiser at the price of 2 balloons for every $1. Some fucking expensive balloons anyway. The volunteers would spend the day inside the structure, filling balloons with helium and tying them before letting them float away, where they would be caught by a net that acted as a ceiling for the structure 3 stories above. In total, they were primed to release 1.4 million balloons. Their goal was actually 2 million balloons, but they had to give up on that as it looked like the weather was starting to take a turn, a fact that will surely be of little consequence throughout the rest of this story. The net above the structure was released and the balloons took to the sky. Even though they didn't reach their goal, 1.4 million balloons is definitely a sight to behold, especially in Cleveland. The air was speckled with the multicoloured orbs as far as the eye could see, and the people below watched on in awe.
I was surprised, I loved it, it was so great! Oh my god, it was great, I loved it!
Under normal circumstances, helium balloons stay afloat until they're totally deflated. However, shortly after the 1.4 million balloons were released, they would meet with a cold front and rain, which sent them back down to Earth. In the days following the event, balloons were everywhere, which, look, it's not a big deal, it's fairly harmless. They're just balloons. I'd say it livened up the city for a while, and overall, I'd be willing to say that Balloonfest was a resounding success. Oh no. Nearby Burke Lakefront Airport had to temporarily close a runway due to the balloons. The balloons also clogged the roads, slowing down traffic. Multiple collisions were reported with people claiming they had to swerve out of the way to avoid the balloons, which is a fairly lame excuse given the choice between driving into slow-moving objects that are literally lighter than air and another solid mass. I'm not sure why you would choose the latter. Some people didn't even attempt an excuse and just straight up admitted they were too busy gawking at the sky to bother themselves with where they were directing their 2-ton speed machine. At a nearby pasture, grazing horses were so startled by the balloons that they gave themselves permanent injuries as they tried to... Actually, I'm not sure why they did that, to be honest. Mr. Horse, ya big fucking idiot. 2 fishermen were reported missing on the day of Balloonfest. Their empty boat was found battered against the coast, but a search and rescue helicopter could not reach the area as the air was filled with balloons. A Coast Guard boat was sent out, but they couldn't see anything as the water was filled with bombs. Oh my god. Oh no, balloons. The Coast Guard gave up the search 2 days later. The bodies of the 2 drowned fishermen eventually washed up on shore. So really, it was all just a fucking catastrophe. Probably the most damage one could possibly hope to achieve with balloons. Maybe at some point they ran out of helium and instead filled the balloons with malice. Even the images of the balloons swarming the city looked like some sort of weaponized evil. For their part in orchestrating the disaster, United Way was sued by the wife of one of the fishermen for $3.2 million, as well as the owner of the horses for $100,000. So the fundraising event actually turned out to be a massive net loss for the organisation. Literally no part of this came together like it was supposed to. It's actually quite impressive how badly it turned out. There are terrorist attacks that aren't as successful as Balloonfest. They would, however, achieve their goal of making it into the Guinness Book of World Records as the largest ever mass balloon pollution.